Hi, morning everyone. Welcome to today's section. Today, I want to tell you the story about a pen story in order to avoid the addiction of my misperception. Misperception, yes, that's right. So, shall we start? So, first of all, please join me by answering this question. So, what is this in my hand? So, this is the pen, right? So what will happen if I give this thing to a dog, right? A little dog. What can it do? So it can chew it, right? Because it's thing. Why? Because it's thing. This is a chew toy, right? So this thing, this is a pen to a man, and this is a chew toy to a dog. So who is right? The answer is both of them are right. How can it happen? Because each different entity can have different point of view. So the first lesson of the pen story is that you have to respect the point of view of others. So we move on to the next lesson. Okay, imagine this time I asked the man and the dog to leave this thing, and I put this thing into an empty room. There's nothing inside of the room except this thing. So by this time, what we call this? So the answer is, surprisingly, this is nothing, right? So why this is nothing? Because the entity who put a name on this does not exist right now near it. Okay, so the ancient intelligence say this is the emptiness characteristic of this thing. The emptiness characteristic doesn't mean that this thing disappear or it doesn't exist anymore, but it has limitless potential, right? So the second lesson of this the pen story is that everything has emptiness characteristic, and it means that it has limitless potential. All right. Okay. So we move on to the next lesson, but we will deep down, we dig more deep down to the limitless potential. Okay, so remember this thing, we put it into an empty room, right? And imagine tomorrow, the day after today, tomorrow I open the door and I ask the man to come back and see this. So what will he call this when he see this the next day, tomorrow? So we call this the pen, right? Like before. But, and this time, imagine next, if I don't ask him, but I don't ask the dog instead to come back and see this. So what can a dog do to this right now? It can choose this like before, right? Because it still thinks it's a chew toy of rice. So imagine next, this time I ask the man and the dog to come back at the same time to see this. What will happen? So there will be two words happen at the same time. The first word is things in a pen to a man, and the second word, this is a chew toy to a dog. It happened at the same time. So the limitless potentiality, show clearly in this illustration. The first, this thing has the emptiness characteristic, but just after that, it's changed to a pen to a man in his world, and changed to a chew toy to a dog in the dog's world. And these two can happen in different moment of time, or it can happen at the same time. And there's nothing to limit us by increasing the number of the words, right? So this is the limitless potentiality. And the next question is, this potentiality is so beautiful, but where does it come from? So in my hand, we will see that in my hand, we call this a pen, right? The fact that it's the pen comes from my mind, or it's come from itself. The answer is the fact that it's a pen is come from my mind, not from itself. Why? Because it's come from itself. The dog will also see it as a pen already, right? So I agree that it's come from my mind, but where exactly in my mind does it come from? Because my mind is vast. So I will choose this time my need, my wants, because everybody always wants something. This is a big part in the mind, right? So I will close my eye. I say that I want this pen turn into a diamond. I count 1, 2, 3 and open my eyes. And I see this still like before. Even can write something on my hands. So it's definitely still a pen, not a diamond. So what's wrong here? Because I think that everything comes from my mind, and my needs, my want is a very big part in my mind. But I use this, I cannot change this. So what is the problem? The essence, intelligence say that there's no problem. This is right. Wish, need, wants, demand is right, but it's you need something more, which is the seeds in your brain, in your mind. The seeds mean that what you do, what you say, and what you think will make an imprint in your brain, like a seed in your brain, and then next it will cover an image and picture on something, and then you will call this by the name you given to this. Okay, so the third lesson is everything comes from your mind. Or more exactly, it's come from what you do, what you think, and what you talk. And the fourth lesson is that in this world, if you want anything to happen, you have to sow the seed. And there's nothing else to do, no other things to do, no other way to do it. Alright, so I have finished this pen story with 4 lessons. The first one, you have to respect the point of view of order. The second one is that everything have the emptiness characteristic, and it means that it has limited potentiality. And the third lesson is that everything comes from our mind, especially more exactly it comes from what we do, what we think, and what we talk. And the final one is that everything in life you want it to happen, anything you have to sow the seed. And even this lesson is very simple, but it's very deep. To maximize the deep, to understand the into deep of this lesson, you have to repeat it at least 3,000 times. So I'm gonna see you next time, tomorrow. Bye.